kia ora and welcome from Heather and Louise.
G'day. I'm over here again.
live with, and a topic under the theme today, your role in 2020. Our topic is shadow versus light and you.
Bit of a tough question. Bit of a tough subject. Nah, it's not. It's just easy. It's life, isn't it? It's what we do. It's an everyday occurrence, looking at the parts of ourselves. So let's delve into it. Let's really start looking at that double-edged coin, the two sides of the coin, the light, the dark, the good, the evil, the good, the bad. Is it really good? Is it really bad? What's going on? And what is the shadow and what is the light? Heather.
Okay. So what is your shadow self? Let's start with the shadow self. What would the shadow self be? Shadow self for myself could be and has been the thoughts that I think about myself, the thoughts that I think about others, the different parts of me, the work part of me, the family part of me, the partnership part of me, the different faces that I may expose or wear, but behind that there may be that other part, that shadow self, which is telling me things. It could be telling me like I'm not good enough, and this has happened, and it could be telling me to hate on others or to resent, or I could be acting out in that particular way. So the shadow self is the self that you don't reveal to possibly nobody else. You only even acknowledge it maybe minimalistically to yourself even. It may be something that you are even scared of or ashamed of, your shadow self. It may be that the shadow self only momentarily reveals itself. It may be something that you're aware of and you live with constantly, and you're not sure what to do about. You don't even talk to anybody else about it. So this is not about self-disclosure. G'day Judy, nice to see you here. This is about the shadow versus the light and you. Why are we talking about this now? Well, we've talked about and inferred this topic before, referred to it before I should say, in the past, but now our theme for 2020 is your role in 2020. So what is your role in 2020? What is your role in 2020? First and foremost, it's to heal thyself. We believe healing thyself is the gateway into the true I am, the true knowing of self. In order to heal yourself, you really probably need to recognize your shadow self. And as I said, your shadow self can be anything from the thoughts racing around your head to the part of you that you don't expose to many people. Maybe it's just your partner or your intimate loved one that sees it, or maybe they don't even get to see all of it. It's running around in your head. And maybe it's a little bit that your family see or other close people see. Or maybe you even expose that shadow self to your work colleagues or to your friends. Who knows? It could be many different guises. But I guarantee you that there's not one person on this planet that does not have a shadow part of them, a shadow self. And it could range from serious self-flagellation all the way through to something that just pops up very occasionally and you've dealt with most of it. So the shadow versus the light. Which facade are you showing the world? Is it your professional face? At home, do you have your family face facade? When you're alone, is something else happening? And what are you doing with the shadow part of yourself? Are you acknowledging it? Are you seeing it as something that you've created that is a part of you? Or are you pushing it down and suppressing it, kicking its butt, feeling even worse when it rises up? Or are you making an effort now to create healing, to create resolve, to create integration? And then we have the light part of us. happy, joyful, abundant, peaceful, compassionate, flowing, creative. Think of some other words. G'day Debbie, nice to see you here. Share this around, folks. This is going to be a big topic for this year, and not just a topic, it's about the action we take in order to come into balance for ourselves. For as long as we ignore our shadow part, as long as it will be with us. Okay, now I'm going to hand it over to Lou. She might have some insights for you now as well.
I was just listening to Heather, and it's amazing that, I've got a few things written down to refer to, and I'm looking and listening to what she's saying, and a lot of what she says about the shadow self is very similar to what I've got written on mine. And when I've gone into this, when I've looking at the shadow self, my question is like you might be asking yourself, is like, well, what do you mean shadow self? Is there this secret part of me that lives within me that is just there in the shadows, like literally a shadow? When you're in the sunlight, your body casts a shadow on the ground. Exactly, that is exactly what I'm talking about, because each one of us has a part where we stand in the way of the light, and we don't let the light actually hit those hidden parts. Why is irrelevant, because my why is different from your why, is different from the next person's why. So I can't tell you why we do that. All I can say is why I do that. And it could be just boiling it down to the bare thing of being ashamed that this is still in my life after many, many, many years of dealing with things, of dealing with bits and pieces that pertain to this particular shadow part of me. So how do you identify a shadow? And I wrote down two things: shadow, light, just like pros and cons. And in my shadow list, I've got hidden pain, anger, triggers, rejection, selfish focus. But I've also got something that I found very, very strange as I was writing it down. I've put acceptance. I've put peace. And I thought, why did I write that? Because, when we are in our shadow, when we're in that place of disturbedness or diseasedness, or just our turmoil of being, we can sometimes get to a place where we just accept it. We become comfortable with that shadow. We become comfortable with that placement of being out of order. We feel that this is normal for us. Okay, then I went on to my light side, and I went, well, what is on my light column? And I put releasing, I put growth, I put peace, I put acceptance, I put learning, I put self-observation. And then I wrote this question, or statement. I said, dealing with the hidden areas and not looking and not allowing the sealed doors in our lives to be opened. So to me, when I'm dealing with a shadow, it's literally those hidden areas in our lives. Now, everybody has got hidden areas. I don't care who we are. We could be the best channels, the best energy healers. We could be the best of best of best of best. And there is some part of us or some part of me that is hidden away, where you don't want anyone to know that happened, or that you deal with this, or this is something in your life. Why? Because we all want to be seen as having it together. We want to be seen as having something that we can give others, that we can share with others, and we can be seen as being okay. The minute we start saying, hey, look, I've got this in my life, and this is a shadow part of me, it's not great, it's not the best, it's not the worst, but it's something I'm dealing with. Humanity as a whole tends to feel that they get judged for that. What would you say about that, Heather?
Well, it's true. I mean, for myself, fear of judgment has been it's been a big thing for me, fear of judgment over the years. And all I'm doing really has been judging myself more than anything. And it doesn't really matter what other people think. I've come to realise what it matters is what's going on in my head, what am I thinking and feeling, and how am I resolving and integrating my own hurt and pain and shadow parts. And so the shadow versus the light. We have to have the yin and the yang. You cannot have one fully without the other. That's a pretty basic metaphysical concept that most people are aware of, but how many of us are truly dealing with the integration of the shadow and the light? It's something that I've started some years ago, and it continues on today. It continues on, and sometimes a moment by moment basis. And the first thing, the shadow versus the light in you, is to recognize those parts of yourself, recognize that lighter part of yourself, recognize that shadow part of yourself. And we're going to be talking more about this during this month too, because the information that we've been getting, that's coming through, the higher energy information through our higher selves, my intuitive knowing for myself has been, unless I deal with that part of myself, I'm not going to be having that freedom of being that I've come to attain, that I've come to enjoy, thoroughly enjoy in this lifetime. And that affects me mentally, emotionally, physically and spiritually. Now, if you're resonating with what we're saying, give us a thumbs up. If you're unsure about what we're talking about, ask a question and give us a thumbs down. Please, we're very happy to interact
with us.
Interact with us. So we bring this topic because on our Tuesday channeling group, and if anybody's interested in joining us every week for a Tuesday teaching and channeling group, it's a great group. We've got a wonderful bunch of people who have grown enormously over the last months and years that we've been doing this. And often what we talk about comes through that funnel, that particular portal of energy group first, and then filters out as we start bringing it forward to the public. So if you're interested, please let us know. So it's come through, our first channeling on this group last night talked about the light and the dark. And there was a reference. Here's something, I'm just going to allude to it very briefly because I want to talk about that, or we want to talk about this further when we have our own fuller understanding. Because it's all very well having the higher energies, the ascended masters and the gurus and the teachers and whoever they are, and us and you and me teaching and talking, but until it resonates with you, until you go into your own place of understanding and feel what resonates with you, then it doesn't mean anything. Correct? You have to understand and know for yourself your own truth, your reflection back. This feels right. I know this in my knowing, beyond my knowing. Okay? And that's up to you. So you need to decide that whatever we speak, Louise and myself, whatever comes through channel communications via us, or any other human being or entity. Okay? So the comment was made during this channeling about the shadow that we've been told is the light, which isn't the light. Now that's a good one. I can't help myself but bring this to the fore at the moment. I find it very, very interesting. So if we apply that to ourselves, the shadow that we're told is the light but is not the light, because we're often told just love and light, everything's love and light, and just love yourself and everything will be fine. And that's, in essence, that's true. Just love yourself and everything will be fine. But if you're ignoring the parts of yourself that you've created over eons and multiple different multidimensional experiences, okay, we're energy beings. Okay, the human parts of us is just a small part of our multi-dimensional status. G'day Daisy. And if we are to ignore all those other parts that we've created that have come in as different aspects or different shadows or different parts of our whole makeup, then all we're doing is ignoring our experiences completely and utterly. And we become fragmented. And if we become fragmented, are we fully functional? I'm not. When I'm fragmented, I'm certainly not fully functional. That was my phone. Just turn it off. Should have before, shouldn't I? So when I'm fragmented, I'm not fully functional. So a message came through some years ago from the Council of Many Councils, and it talked about the Hall of Mirrors. The Hall of Mirrors. And I think we're going to be replicating that Hall of Mirrors channeling, because I think it's a very important part of bringing together the pieces. So if you would imagine going to one of those weird and wonderful circus shows, you know, those fairs where you go in and they've got the scary things, and then they've got the Hall of Mirrors, and you see yourself in different corners and shapes and coming back at yourself. Imagine walking through that and all those different parts of those mirrors as you see your reflection looking back at you are nobody else but you. What are you going to do with all those parts? Are you going to go, ah, and run screaming and out through the door? Well, you might do. Many people have. I have. I've gone, oh shit, that can't be what I've
That's
created
not me.
and who I am.
Yeah.
And many of us do. I mean, I've done it. I've run away, haven't wanted to deal with things. But what I'm discovering, and what I've discovered even more so for 2020, is the importance, the utmost importance of dealing with those mirrored prism shards of self and integrating them. Now, those of you that have done aspect integration with us will know what we're talking about. If you do want some assistance or guidance with that, private message us. There are many ways of integrating yourself. Aspect integration is one of probably quite a few very powerful ways of integrating parts of yourself. We're not talking about soul retrieval here. We're talking about something a little different and a little more close to the heart and close to the energy experience. Okay, so I'll hand it back to my colleague, my wife, my partner, and my main trigger of my shadow self, Louise.
Dun, da, da, da. Talking about triggers, you know, it is, when you are close with somebody, when you are in a relationship, and a relationship doesn't have to be a love relationship, or you don't have to be married. It can be a relationship at work, and it could be a friend relationship, it could be family relationship. Sometimes these close relationships are your best opportunity for things to happen in your life to trigger you, to look at the shadow parts of you, to look at the parts that rile up. Somebody says something, somebody comes in, does something, and you're just like, what the? And everything just starts to boil up. Or it's a case of like, it's like, it's not fair. Why does it happen? I'm not to blame. It's not my fault. And all of these things start going through, right? Now, those are the shadow parts that we're talking about. But it's more than just a mood. It's more than just a spurt of anger. It's deep, deep rooted. And when we say you have to look at the shadow and the light, and you have to meld the two. The reason I use the word have to is because there is no other way to bring the amalgamation of joining the two parts to the oneness, which is what, when the Grand Ascended Masters talk of the I Am, when they talk about the divine center, the balance of who we are, this is the amalgamation and the acknowledgement that we are everything. And we are the one. You know, when so many people, and I've had this conversation with Safita, with Katumi, with some of the other Ascended Masters, and I've said, you know, I hear people say, we're one, we're one, we're one. I have no concept of being at one with everything, with the plants, with the bees, with the birds, with the ground, with the this, with the that. I'm hardly at one with myself. Help me understand. And you know, the answer they gave me was so releasing for myself, because they said to me, they said, Louise, until you learn to deal and accept and love yourself in the shadows, and love and accept and deal with yourself in the light, and bring those two together, you have no right to say you are one with anything else, because until you are one with yourself and have an understanding and a conception, and you comprehend the fullness of what it is to be one, then you can then become connected in the oneness with everything else. Now, that doesn't take away from the fact that you can be connected, and that you can feel in resonance, and that you feel the vibration of connection with other people and other things. Absolutely. But without this understanding of who you are, both the good part of you and the bad part of you, that those two conflicting things that drive us so often to despair at times. I know for myself, and I'm just going to be a little bit transparent here, when my shadow part gets really riled up, I hit depression, I hit anger, I hit, you know, whatever it is, because I want to push out, because I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to say, shit, there's something wrong with me. I don't want to admit to myself that I'm at fault, that there is a fault here. It's not out there, It's here, right here in front of me. And so that's what I'm dealing with in 2020. And I've got a beautiful mentor. I've got a beautiful, strong trigger who's sitting right beside me. Oh, hi, Di.
G'day, Di. How are you? And the thing is...
She's beautiful, by the way.
And Lou said something very interesting. She said, something wrong with me, at fault. Now, these words, at fault, something wrong with me, these are the sort of crusty things that we're talking about. These are the things, these are the words that you might be even saying to yourself, there's something wrong with me, I'm at fault, this keeps happening, da-da-da-da-da. Take away those words and start seeing that there's something that needs to be loved about you. There's a part of yourself that's playing out, because if you keep going, I'm at fault, I'm doing this, I'm bad, I'm this, I'm ashamed, I'm whatever, and this is the self-flagellation, then you're not going to get to the point of the wording where you're able to love, even love those parts of yourself and bring them home, because that's the only way you're going to integrate, is by loving those parts of yourself. So please share this around. We're going to be talking a little bit more about this during the next month, but we're going to be talking about other things too, metaphysical, energy things, and what your role in 2020 is. You know, a lot of people might think, oh, it's going to be the same as last year. I hope it's not. I hope it's not. Well, if it's not going to be the same as last year, and you don't want it to be the same as last year, what are you going to do to make it different for you? Are there parts of your shadow and light that need to be integrated together to bring that balance, One of the things I'm going to share with you that was shared with us on Tuesday, and it's not a surprise, it's been shared with us before, but it was very clear at our Tuesday channeling, was that there are going to be people that appear to have it all together, and they may be light worker, teachers or gurus or metaphysicians or people within a particular capacity of teaching and that people look up to, where some of the cracks will appear. It seems like that they have it all together, but some of the cracks may start to appear. So this is not to point finger or anything like this. This is to be observant about what's going on around you, having a look. And if you're bowing down or over admiring or etc., a particular person or group, because they seem to do no bad in your eyes, or they seem to have the perfection sorted out with everything, have another look. Step back and have another look, and then have a look at yourself as well. Remember, everything can be a reflection if we choose to heal within that reflection. Not everything is a reflection, by the way, but it can be if you choose to heal. Okay, so one of the Ascended Masters, actually the council came through and said it on Tuesday. They said this is what we say to you, dear ones. We always say to you, and this is, now you'll begin to understand why we say it. You are perfect in your imperfection. So we are perfect in our imperfection. We are perfect in our imperfection. You're actually perfect in your imperfection exactly as you are now, and you can walk away from this conversation, this live with us, and go, oh, it's all good, I'm sorted, I'm going to get on with it, and that's fine. There is absolutely no right or wrong. But if you know that something's been stirred up, and you know within your own self that there's a part of yourself within your light and shadow quotient that needs to be more balance and more integration, that there's a part of you that's lurking, that you haven't even opened the trap door on yet, maybe it's time to go down there and invite it to come out. With grace and ease. You can do it with grace and ease. I don't normally do my stuff with grace and ease, unfortunately, but you know, it's very experiential, but it's still getting easier. In a lot of ways it's getting easier, the understanding. So just a disclaimer here, Louise and I are not medical doctors, nor are we psychologists or psychiatrists. We are metaphysicians. We are channelers, authors, speakers, energy healers, workers, mentors. So our experience comes from our own experience.
Own personal.
Our own personal experience and the tools we've used and shared with dozens and dozens of other people across the globe. Okay.
Just remember as well that, you know, when we do come to you with information in these live feeds, we're taking from our own lives. We're sharing from what we've experienced, what we've gone through. And because we know they work for us, because we know that what we've done actually does work, we continue to use it, we continue to work with it, we share it. Because if we kept something and we know that it works, that it wouldn't be worth anything for anybody. And so what we do is we say, hey guys, here, this is what we find works. Try it yourself and see if it works for you. Because it doesn't, I'm still discovering now, going through things that I've hidden away from when I was a child. I've pushed them, suppressed them, don't want to deal with it because it was too sore back then, pushing it away. But those things have a habit of coming back in other ways, means and thoughts and patterns in my life that trigger me today as an adult. So I have to go back and I have to look at it and I have to deal with it, right? Not always as easy as what it sounds like. So guys, when we say this works, it works. And we are here, both Heather and I are here to assist you, to walk through it with you if you so desire. And as she said, we don't have a medical degree behind us, but we know what we do works for us, and we've seen it work with other people.
Well, there we are. The other thing I was going to say too, if you want to spend winter in the Southern Hemisphere with us for 7 days on our retreat, Life Mastery and Consciousness with the Ascended Masters, and getting right down in amongst it, face to face with the Ascended Masters, and doing some wonderful workshops and having an awesome time in tropical Queensland, then let us know.
Well, there's a link on here for...
Oh, she's put the link up. She's organised. Yes!
In fact, there's a link for the specials that are still going on to the end of January for both the channel readings and Akashic Records. There's the retreat link, and there's the Tour Gaia Sacred Site link.
There we are. She's so organised.
I try.
Okay, folks, I think that's about it. We don't want to wring you dry, but if you want to talk about stuff or you want some assistance with anything, you know we're here. We'll be back on Friday with another topic under the theme, what is your role in 2020? Let's make no bones about it. 2020 is going to be as powerful as you want it to be, okay? One thing I would say and would give guidance on is that the drama that's happening out there, globally, geopolitically, and every other way, just put it to the side. If there's something you can do about something that's going to improve something, then great. Do that, create that. But just getting into the head drama and talking about it constantly and social mediaing it is not going to do any ounce of good unless you're taking some sort of direct action in a particular area. And all it's going to do is distract you and take you away from your own healing. Okay, we love you, we care about you, and we want to see double the numbers on Friday, so invite your friends along, and we might even Lou might even pull a cube for somebody.
Yeah, let's do that.
Pull a card is what we normally would say in our sort of realm of work, but we will pull a cube.
I'll bring my crystal cubes out on Friday, so be here.
Same time.
We'll
see you then.
And don't forget the 11th. We're going to be doing a channeling
on the 11th of January, on the Saturday, 11 a.m., 11th of January, we're bringing through a full channeling, the update 2020, a free
so
public
it's 11th
a free public channeling, 11 a.m. on the 11th, 11 a.m. our time. Okay, that's AEST time, which is Brisbane. You can work it out. This is Silky. She's our head counsellor in the house.
Oh dear, she is.
She actually is. She just come and kiss and love you when you're not feeling so good about your shadow self. Oh, darling. And she'll kiss and love you anyway. She's gorgeous, isn't she? Okay, guys, we better get going. Love you. Take care. Have a wonderful day, morning and evening, wherever you are, because we are.
Ciao, guys.